Hey basketball guys, we have news. Let's go to more Los Angeles Lakers news, but first don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. The Lakers have already tried to sign Klay Thompson and were unsuccessful due to the high price, but now things have changed and the player is available, in case the Dallas Mavericks do not keep him or Thompson asks for a trade. Even as a veteran, Klay Thompson is still a great three-point shooter, and playing with Doncic and LeBron, his game tends to improve. His experience in playoffs and finals will help the Lakers a lot. If Klay Thompson is available, he will be a great addition for the Lakers. Lakers may finally have Klay Thompson this offseason thanks to Luka Doncic. After years of rumors, it could finally happen. Fans of the Los Angeles Lakers have heard the rumors for years. There's always been talk about Klay Thompson making the move to LA to suit up for the franchise his father famously played for. But now, because of Luka Doncic, it seems there could actually be a real opportunity for that dream to become reality. When Thompson famously left the Golden State Warriors last offseason, he did so to seize the opportunity of playing with such a talented player as Doncic. Obviously, playing next to a guy who just took his team to the finals in an improbable playoff run was a highly desirable experience. And so, for around half a season, Thompson got just that kind of experience he was looking for. But with Doncic missing significant time following Christmas, and then being traded to Los Angeles in February, the opportunity he essentially moved to Dallas for disappeared in an instant. The situation that Klay envisioned with the Mavericks no longer exists. Now, on one hand, you can say Dallas is in arguably as good of a position as they were before due to winning the lottery and getting the top pick that will allow them to select Cooper Flagg in the draft. Thompson could finally have his opportunity to play with 77. But on the other hand, you can view it from the perspective that the player he looked forward to partnering with most is no longer in his city. So that begs the question, would Thompson desire to finally fulfill the Lakers' rumors and come to Los Angeles to reunite with Luka in Southern California? Well, let's think of it from a logistical point of view. Thompson already didn't play quite as many minutes this past season with the Mavericks as many initially envisioned. On top of that, Dallas now has a crowded center rotation, and they could look to make a move this summer. Should Dallas deal away one of their centers, it's entirely possible they look to move Klay as well, given he's one of their more expendable rotation players. If the Mavs go this route, the Lakers could look to get in on the action. Sure, maybe this isn't the same Klay Thompson that scored 60 points while taking 11 dribbles in 3 quarters back in 2016. But he's still a player who can create significant scoring gravity from the perimeter, and he'd be a valuable shooter to put around Luka Doncic. Bringing Klay Thompson to Los Angeles would be an underrated way for the Lakers to level up and become a more dangerous playoff team. Plus, how sweet would it be to see Michael Thompson sitting courtside for every game at Crypto.com Arena supporting his son wearing number 11 or 31? This would be a very fun outcome for Lakers fans. $18 million Lakers starter considered trade candidate amid offseason rumors. The Los Angeles Lakers are in a position where they don't have many tradable pieces, but the players on the roster are all easy to move on from. Outside of Luka Doncic and LeBron James, there isn't a player on the Lakers roster who can't be traded, including Rui Hachimura. Hachimura, a decent player for the Lakers, has put together a nice career for himself. He averaged 13.1 points and shot 41.3% from three-point range a season ago. Even in the postseason, he was one of the lone players against the Minnesota Timberwolves to do much, scoring 23 points in each of the final 2 games. However, according to a report from the Orange County Register, he could be a trade candidate this offseason because of his $18.3 million salary, which is part of an expiring deal. With an $18.3 million salary for next season that is part of an expiring deal, and it being evident that he's still rounding out his game and developing, Hachimura will likely come up in offseason trade buzz as the Lakers look to upgrade their roster after back-to-back first-round playoff exits. But the Lakers' belief in Hachimura has been evident, and with how important he was for them, the Lakers would need to make a significant upgrade at a position of need for Hachimura to be on another team at the start of the 2025-26 season, Kobe Price wrote. Expiring deals in this current CBA are very valuable around the NBA. If the Lakers can move on from Hachimura for a player with multiple years who can give them a similar skill set, or a center, that the Lakers clearly need, it might not be the worst idea to trade him. Lakers trade proposal grabs $76 million. Recent Defensive Player of the Year winner. The Los Angeles Lakers needed POA defense during the postseason, and that was evident. While the Lakers' center position wasn't ideal, their inability to keep guards in front of them was a major issue, and something that will continue to hurt them if they don't fix it. Searching for ways for the Lakers to improve their defense, Fadeaway World proposed a deal to land Marcus Smart of the Washington Wizards, the 2022 Defensive Player of the Year award winner. The trade would move on from Jared Vanderbilt, Gabe Vincent, and the number 55 overall pick in the 2025 NBA Draft. Marcus Smart, the 2022 Defensive Player of the Year, brings tenacity and leadership to any team he joins. In the 2024-25 season, he averaged 9.0 points, 2.1 rebounds, and 3.2 assists per game with the Washington Wizards. His defensive intensity and experience could provide the Lakers with a much-needed perimeter stopper, they wrote. Smart isn't the same player he once was with the Boston Celtics, where he was a three-time All-Defensive Team selection. Factor that in with some of the injuries he's dealt with, appearing in just 54 games since departing from the Celtics during the 2022-23 offseason, and it's tough to justify the Lakers giving up too much for him. He was part of a deal as a salary dump during the trade deadline for the Memphis Grizzlies, playing on a 4-year, $76.5 million deal. There's a chance that if he's healthy, he'd be a great fit for the Lakers. However, the last thing Rob Pelinka and the Lakers want is to add a player who can't stay on the court. Detroit Pistons could bail out LA Lakers in future-driven mock trade. The Detroit Pistons, after snapping their playoff drought and taking the New York Knicks to 6 games, are expected to be back and better next season. Cade Cunningham has emerged as a franchise centerpiece, and Jaden Ivey will be returning to a deep and talented lineup. The Los Angeles Lakers, on the other hand, are expected to remain one of the better teams in the Western Conference, although they need to pick a direction. Are they still LeBron James' team, or is Luka Doncic the face of the Lake Show? Either way, they need to add a defensive-minded center and lob threat this summer. Nick Claxton, Daniel Gafford, Mitchell Robinson, and others have been floated as options, although Isaiah Stewart makes the most sense. Stewart is a starting caliber center provided there is spacing around him, which the Lakers have in spades with James, Doncic, and Austin Reeves. With the Lakers, he could rebound, block shots, and catch lobs, all things he excels at despite being undersized. Los Angeles showed its hand this season by offering Dalton Knecht and a second-round pick to the Charlotte Hornets for Mark Williams before a failed medical evaluation undid the trade. Stewart has 3 seasons left on a $60 million contract, so the Lakers will need to balance his salary. Pistons receive Dalton Knecht, Dorian Finney-Smith. Lakers receive Isaiah Stewart. Now, Stewart and James would have to put aside their differences, as a blood-covered Stewart chased James around the court in 2021. However, in the name of winning, the two competitors could put their differences aside. The Pistons add a high-level wing to replace free agent Tim Hardaway Jr. in Finney-Smith, and upgrade on perimeter defense. Knecht, hopefully, will blossom into an elite shooter, giving the Pistons a long-term starting 5 of Cunningham, Ivey, Knecht, Ozar Thompson, and Jalen Duren. Ron Holland, Dennis Schroeder, and Malik Beasley round out a very good bench unit. Luka Doncic is finally making the key transformation Nico begged for in Dallas. When Luka Doncic was traded by the Dallas Mavericks to the Los Angeles Lakers this past trade deadline, Nico Harrison had one major complaint about the Slovenian superstar. Harrison believed Doncic did not take his physical fitness seriously. Doncic has a history of showing up to training camp out of shape, leading to questionable defensive effort and limiting Doncic's upside. While Doncic cared deeply about winning and the Mavericks organization, it is true that Doncic could have prepared himself better in some off-seasons. Even when out of shape, Doncic was one of the best players in the NBA. While his defense suffered, his offensive production has remained consistent regardless of his conditioning level. When in shape, Doncic is an unstoppable force with no weaknesses. Doncic used the 2023 offseason to improve his fitness. The following season, he led the Mavericks to the NBA Finals. If this higher standard of fitness could be maintained, the Mavericks would have been perennial title contenders. Luka Doncic is finally taking his conditioning seriously for Lakers. It appears the trade to the Lakers was the motivation Doncic needed to take his conditioning seriously. Images from his camp have indicated that Doncic has decided to use this offseason to return to peak form. He is in the gym, eating healthy, and looks slimmer than he has in recent memory. Sources close to Doncic suggest that he has changed his mindset about conditioning and is starting anew. The Mavs had many conversations with Luka about his conditioning. Some years, such as in the offseason before the 2023-24 season, Doncic took the team's advice and used the offseason to return to peak shape. In other years, such as his final Mavericks season, Doncic was over the weight that the Mavericks thought he should be playing at. Reports indicate that his absence due to a wrist injury last season was extended to allow Doncic time to shed weight. Harrison repeatedly attacked Doncic's conditioning after the trade to justify his decision behind closed doors. These comments, paired with Lakers coach J.J. Redick's comments after being eliminated in this year's playoffs, have provided the fuel Doncic needed to improve his conditioning going forward. While Harrison's conditioning concerns were real, many fans thought the move was premature. Doncic can always be inspired to take his conditioning seriously, however, the Mavs cannot always find a player of Doncic's caliber. Fortunately, the Mavericks struck gold in the 2025 NBA Draft Lottery and were gifted a generational talent, Cooper Flagg, to replace Doncic. We will never know if there was anything the Mavericks could have done to elicit this change from Doncic without trading him. The emotional distress Doncic experienced after being traded is the type of event that tends to fuel intrinsic motivation and personal change. Could the Mavs have simply threatened to trade and inspired the ambition Doncic is currently displaying? Lakers tried to acquire Hawks player before Mark Williams trade. After the Los Angeles Lakers acquired Luka Doncic from the Dallas Mavericks in February, the team needed a center since Anthony Davis was traded to the Mavericks. Los Angeles general manager Rob Pelinka acquired Mark Williams from the Charlotte Hornets after meeting with Doncic. The Lakers were all set to start Doncic, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, LeBron James, and Williams. However, Williams failed his physical with the Lakers, so the trade fell through. Not having a talented big man hurt the Lakers in the first round of this year's playoffs against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Los Angeles had no one to stop Rudy Gobert, who had 27 points and 24 rebounds in Game 5. The Lakers, despite having Doncic and James, lost to the Timberwolves in 5 games. A center after trading for Doncic. Not only did he target Williams, but he also talked to the Atlanta Hawks about Onyeka Okongwu. Before the Mark Williams trade, and I can't tell you all the names on that list, but I actually assume he was one of the names on the list that Rob Pelinka presented to Luka because I do know the Lakers made a call to the Hawks around the trade deadline about Okongwu, Dave McMenamin of ESPN said on the Straight Fire podcast with Jason McIntyre. Pelinka told local reporters during his end-of-the-season press conference that he will attempt to acquire a center this summer. Lakers head coach J.J. Redick played without a center in Game 5 against the Timberwolves since Jackson Hayes was struggling against Gobert. We know this offseason, one of our primary goals is going to be to add size in our frontcourt at the center position, Pelinka said. LA's roster needs more size and a center. That's a very clear and obvious byproduct of trading potentially the best big in the league to Dallas to get a point guard. Of course, that's going to open up a huge hole. The trade deadline and the moments up to it don't allow you the requisite time to explore every single unturned stone to add a big to our roster. We just didn't have the time after the Luka trade. But now we do, Pelinka said. Could Giannis join the Lakers? Why a trade seems unrealistic. Giannis Antetokounmpo's trade to the Lakers appears highly unlikely unless he specifically demands it. LA has limited assets and financial constraints this offseason. Giannis Antetokounmpo is a hot topic in the NBA world right now. Reports suggest he may be exploring options outside of Milwaukee, sparking a wave of rumors about potential destinations. One team name that always gets fans buzzing is the Los Angeles Lakers, especially with the idea of teaming him up with Luka Doncic. But how realistic is a move to LA? According to Jovan Buha of The Athletic, not very. They don't have that type of package available right now for Giannis, Buha said on his recent Q&A session. I mean, if I just said Austin Reeves, Dalton Connect, and a first-round pick is not enough for Bam Adebayo. I don't see that being enough for Honest, to say nothing of actually getting to the salary and matching it. I would say Giannis is off the table, realistically, unless he demands to go to LA, Buha added. I think that's the one way. He would have to come out and say, I only want to play for the Lakers, and facilitate it that way. Otherwise, the Lakers cannot make a serious offer compared to what Houston, San Antonio, or even OKC could if they wanted to get involved. Multiple teams can make much more serious offers than the Lakers. The LA Lakers enter the 2025 offseason without cap space, under luxury tax pressure, and with limited flexibility. Their best path to improvement includes expiring contracts, trade exceptions, and distant future picks. Still, fans are intrigued. Giannis recently admired Lakers legend Magic Johnson, saying he modeled his game after the NBA Hall of Famer. The two-time MVP has spent his entire 12-year career with the Bucks and remains under contract through the 2026-27 season, with a $62 million player option for 2027-28. His deal does not include a no-trade clause. Both the Bucks and Lakers were eliminated in the first round of the 2025 NBA playoffs.